Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Filmageddon podcast, back again in your ears, coming at you with all sorts of film-related goodness, with me, the Quizmaster Frank Soldato, and two of my favorite human beings in this world. Even though we're not together right now, we are in separate locations. It is my fun, faithful Quizlings, Adam Grundy and Blair Tracy. Hello, gents. How are we doing today?
Hi, Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, you can go, Blair. Go on, you talk.
No. I was just so excited because we got promoted from favorite Quizlings to favorite people in the world.
Wow.
So
don't let it go to your head, though.
No, it's warm and touching, and now I have an inflated ego, and this will be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare for the rest of the show. But I'm good. I forgot that I was meant to say that, yeah. How about you, Adam?
I'm great. Every morning I wake up, I look at the mirror, and I smile. I smile for half an hour, and I make sure that I believe it. But by the time I leave the mirror, I am full of the joy of spring. I'm in a great place. I got off the bed the other day on Friday night, and a cockroach was on me. And then I thought we killed it, and it dropped out of the air conditioning unit maybe 2 hours later. And we spent a considerable amount of time scared. So everything's great. Smiling in the mirror, scared of cockroaches, doing a film podcast.
You're the Joker, baby.
The joke was truly on Adam.
Yes.
And,
we live in a society.
A society with cockroaches, and that is not a society I want to live in. I am going to get off this planet as soon as I can, because cockroaches are devil insects. Yes. I mean, most insects come from hell, but cockroaches and moths are the main two. The devil's army, basically, is what I call them.
And let's make sure we vote on in December to get rid of the cockroaches.
Well,
I like it.
You know, that leads us to a very interesting, debate here about cockroaches and politicians. Which is worse, really? Which is today's big question!
Name one cockroach and politician you would like to see murdered on the steps of Downing Street. You can tweet us at Filmageddon Quiz. We're on Instagram at Filmageddon. Or you can listen to Frank's podcast, which is the Cardback Cafe, Cardback C, I believe, on Twitter. And
that's it.
Spotify, iTunes, Apple. Make sure you rate and subscribe. Blair is also available for bar mitzvahs, for whatever other people do, christenings.
What do you call it? Whenever Latin people go get like 13, what do they call it?
Cockroachia.
No, I don't think you should say that. Not Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, I'll do some parties.
Oh yeah.
I'll do some parties, do some tricks. Do my cockroach impression, crawl along the floor for the kids.
No.
Okay, right.
You've gone a step too far.
I'm also available, but I won't be a cockroach, it's fine. Now I'm back to my normal level, comparing myself to a cockroach. I was once so filled with fucking glee, being called the best person ever. Now I'm little cockroach boy. Alright, very good.
Alright, now here's the question. Here's the real big question. It's what's the best film featuring cockroaches? And there's only one answer.
Favorite cockroach in cinema? Has it got to be A Bug's Life, I assume?
I feel like there's maybe... is there a horror film where there's a cockroach in someone's mouth? Comes out of the mouth?
I think that's every Rob Zombie music video, I believe.
Oh yeah, Dragula by Rob Zombie. That's the best song in the world. Is that what we're asking? Best song in the world? Dragula by Rob Zombie.
House of 1,000 Corpses, that's also Rob Zombie.
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he wrote and directed the original one, and a lot of people don't know that.
No, that's
people
true.
Think he only did came up with the idea of horror films, actually. So
A Dog's Tale. That was also Rob Zombie in his previous moniker when he was more into the canines, which was Rob Doggy. And yeah,
Rob Doggy. I think Leo's found a dead body.
Leo's a producer. He's now just been like, this is bad.
Yeah.
He's trying to be like, the dog's like, go back to talk about films. What are you talking about cockroaches for?
Hey, welcome to the Filmageddon podcast. We're back at it here. A new episode coming at you in your ears. We're coming, making that joke again, in your ears, filled with sticky goo from our dicks, out of our balls. It's reproductive juice. You want a baby? Here comes a baby. Oh, sorry, I did it in your ears. That's not how you get pregnant. Goodbye. Oh, please call the cops.
I think the dog knew that you were going to say stuff like this.
This will be a bonus episode. All right, enough of this cockroach chat, because as we've already discussed, besides Papa Roach, there is no cockroach that I enjoy. So that actually reminds me that's the cover to that CD from Papa Roach really gave me the heebie-jeebies, as they say. But let's move on and talk about films that don't involve cockroaches, because we're three people, men about town.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the cinema sometimes. We see some films, whether they're in nice cozy chairs in a cinema, as previously mentioned, or in the comfort of our own houses. So, yeah, it's been another week, and I just thought we should update all the lovely listeners at home with what we have seen. And lucky for you guys, I've not seen anything for a while now, it seems. What is a film?
What's wrong? Have you been banned from the cinemas or something? You've been doing some dodgy Pee Wee Herman type stuff in the back? You've been jerking it, Frank? Was that what's happened? You're not allowed in any cinemas?
Pee Wee Herman is a national treasure, and you know what? Society has forgiven him, much like Fred Willard as well. People forgot about that really quickly. These gents, they entertain society for years, generations really, and they have one little flub in a porn theater.
Yes,
I should say, not in a normal theater. Like, what else do you expect to happen there?
Exactly.
And they've been forgiven.
I didn't know you weren't allowed to do that in them. Like, I've never been to one, and I don't think I would ever go.
I thought it was encouraged.
Why would you just show that and just be like, yes, excellent, 45 minutes of pornography, exactly what I needed to break up my day. Do you know what I mean?
You come out of it and it's just like, you know what, the story wasn't too strong, but the split roasting was pretty good, I thought. Yeah, good cinematography there.
If you're not
what we stand with Pee Wee.
If you're not allowed to wank in the cinema itself, those toilets must be absolutely rank. Can you imagine? It's just like,
mate.
Can you just go clean it? Give the toilet a quick over. It's like I'd rather not. And everyone's just wanking into these urinals, I imagine. And imagine just going into it, like coming out of a porn cinema and just walking like, I'm dying for a wee. Like, I do actually just love watching this awful acting.
Yeah.
And they go to the fucking urinal when they see Pee Wee Herman, or whatever his real name is, Mr. Herman, when he is wanking, basically, did you reckon in that moment of him being recognised, do you reckon he kind of, his defence mechanism kicked in and he just did the Pee Wee voice? Or what? The secret word is shh. Don't tell anybody.
I think that is his default voice. I don't know. I wonder what he did. Like, because like now, obviously, you'd whip out a cell phone. Wow, that's kind of weird as well. If you were in a porn theater in the year 2019, saw a celebrity wanking, would you take your cell phone out, film them, post it on your own social media,
straight to prison,
implicating you in being in a porn theater?
And also, that's definitely illegal.
Yeah, and you're filming a guy wanking, and you're like, look what I found.
It would depend how famous. Like, if it was Dean Bowers, I wouldn't bother. But if it was like someone up there, if it was how famous,
Joey Essex.
No, definitely not. I wouldn't know what he looked like.
Yeah, let's figure out the sliding scale of where we would actually take out our phone and film somebody wanking in a.
Where would you put your own liberty in jeopardy, just for that video?
Danny Dyer? Would you do a Danny Dyer?
No, he's too much of a gentleman.
Yeah.
It would have to be.
Yeah, that's. What about Danny Dyer?
Yeah.
His daughter?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I thought you meant
different kind of situation.
I thought you meant Danny Boyle for some reason. I was like, that's because I was expecting the scale to go up. I was like, yeah, I'd film him.
Danny Boyle has a cinema that he can go wank in, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's why he got that famous. He just wanted to wank while he watched fucking 28 Days Later.
Do they sell concessions at porn theaters? I really want to talk about porn. I want to interview somebody who either worked at a porn theater, which also sounds terrible, either worked at a porn theater or has been to a porn theater. So if anyone's out there, get in touch with us on the Twitter, which is, of course, at FilmAgainQuiz, or email us, filmagainfilmquiz@gmail.com.
Or just pop round to Frank's house. He lives at...
next to a porn theater. Actually, porn theaters still have to exist in somewhere in 2019. If a few drive-ins still exist, there's still a Blockbuster Video in the world.
Drive-in porn cinema.
There's got to be a porn theater.
I think Thatcher got rid of all of them, the fucking mad bitch. Glad she's dead.
The most familiar I am with it is, I've never been, but like American Werewolf in London. That's like what I picture a porn theater is when people say that.
Yeah.
I mean, no one says that a lot. I think we're the only people mentioning porn theaters today. But that's what I think of, and you know what? It resembles, because it was in London, American Werewolf in London. It makes sense.
Yep.
It looks like a cinema like the Prince Charles does.
And that was a porn cinema.
Was it?
And that was a porn cinema, I think, back in the day.
Makes sense.
Ooh, history lesson here. That's interesting. When was it? When did it make the switch?
Last week.
Because that's a hard switch to make. Oh, God.
Last week. Yeah.
It's switching back for the Film Again film quiz coming December 4th. Yeah. Coming December 4th.
Every ticket you get a Kleenex. Just one tissue at the door.
And it's a single ply as well, so you have to really do your work.
You're going to come prepared. Come prepared as well.
Well, you come beforehand, so you just get a little dribble. What a podcast. What an episode. This might be our best yet. Let's talk about films that don't involve both cockroaches or porn theaters. Let's talk about the films that we have seen. And, as I was saying, I've just done a little trip to Italy, and I was working. I didn't have time to watch movies, guys. I watched a shitload of YouTube videos that I've already watched and some TV shows, but no time for the films. But I know you guys have been busy. So, Adam, what's a film that you've seen recently?
You know what? I got to today and a day of recording, and we were going to go to a mall, and I said, well, you know what? Let's go and watch a film anyway, because I should, unlike last week, watch a film before we do a film podcast to at least give the sort of illusion that I know or care about any of this. And so we went we were late, basically, kind of. I think we were late because we were playing Pokemon. And then we had to go and give something back, get a refund on something. By the time we got to the cinema, our seats that we'd kind of reserved, it was one of those where you reserve your seats and then you pay at the kiosk. But if you don't do it by a certain time, you lose the seats. And then it was just full up. So we couldn't go. And we were going to go watch Doctor Sleep. And then it was like, well, you can wait 2 hours for the next screen of it. So I just sacked it off and I got really sad. So instead I came home and I watched Parasite. Which is
very good. How was it?
It is very enjoyable. I think the hero of the film, if I can, not to give a spoiler here, but the hero of the film is myself, because I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't read up anything about it. I thought the entire film was about a cop for some reason, just because of the poster at the start. And when the film started, I was like, none of these people are police officers. And then it carried on going. And I think I got 20 minutes in, and I was like, is this Parasite? Is this what it is? And I had to look, and I was like, a little brief kind of synopsis. And I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. Yeah, okay. No, but it was good. It was really good. It's very enjoyable. It's quite funny. I don't know. I think it feels like it was based on an old story. It feels like something that would have been performed, just the setup and the scenarios in it kind of performed as a theatre piece. I don't know if that sounds like I'm chatting out my arse, which I am. But yeah, it was very good. And
is that what that echo is?
The echo is me just crying.
How many characters in the film caught the titular parasite?
There are no parasites.
Oh, spoiler alert for Parasite! I
don't think there are. There's a little cockroach at the start.
Oh fuck no! I'm not seeing it.
It actually is, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! I also just watched Parasite today by complete coincidence.
How very strange.
I smell a scheme
collusion.
Here. You two are in cahoots.
There's collusion. Collusion is no illusion. No, it was a complete coincidence because I watched it because I had time. I woke up and I had to do things in the day before going back to sleep, and I watched it, and I messaged Adam after I watched it asking, "Hey Adam, have you seen Parasite?" And he replied, "Do you know what he replied, Frank?
Go on.
I'm currently watching it." Can you believe that?
I can't believe
Spooky.
it.
That's eerie.
You can believe it, yeah. I know you could believe it. Earwigs, and there's earwigs in it. But yeah, at the start, there is cockroaches at the start. That is very true. So
well,
don't watch it, Frank.
Would you say it's your favorite film featuring cockroaches?
Probably, yeah. Should have thought about that. It probably is because I really loved it. I thought it was really good.
It's fine. We had a chance to come back to it, but it brings up an interesting point of you. Neither of you saw it in a cinema, right?
No, I watched it in my house. on a seat.
And I would assume neither of you, purchased the rights to this film either digitally or a physical copy of some kind.
I made a donation to the church on behalf of the director, so I think I kind of claim a little bit of moral superiority. In fact, I probably did a better job. Like, I know that like the people have already been paid for the film, but I feel like I actually contributed more to society.
Yeah.
Via letterbox reviews.
Yes.
Yeah.
The letterbox reviews and a donation to Christ's Church, not Christchurch, the place, the Church of Christ, Jesus' house.
Well, what do you think? Because it's been out for a bit now, right?
I think I think it was on in the Prince Charles a while ago. But I don't know if it got like a complete release. Like, I don't think it was on in the View or anything.
Well, it got
no. Well, that's above people at the View.
In Thailand. It was out for quite a long time, and I would just see it and just be like, I can't be asked, can't be bothered. So, I didn't see it there, and that was purely because I was being lazy. It was released. The release date in Cannes. It got its debut in Cannes on the 21st of May, and then it was out in South Korea on the 30th of May. So it's been out for quite some time.
Yeah.
But
what do you think? Like, why is it that, because again, we were talking about before we were recording, like the fact that we talk about these films every month. Hey, here are the films coming out. Which films are you going to see if you had to? And, for a bit, sometimes we actually, pull the trigger and see some of these films. But most of the time, they get left waiting for one reason or another, like how we can get to them. So it's like, oh, Parasite's been out for several months. We've sort of known about it. It's, lots of good, positive word of mouth from it. Been excited to see it, but sort of every opportunity until recently for you guys, and I'm still waiting, like, haven't done it. So, like, why do you think that is, like, nowadays? Is it because the ease of getting the stuff? Like, that, hey, if I miss it if it's playing at the Prince Charles for, like, 2 or 3 weeks, I got things to do. I got people to see. I want to go have some drinks with mates. Like, I don't have to make time to go and see this at one point in that 3 weeks, because I know in 4 weeks I'll be able to download it or watch it on Netflix or see it on Amazon Prime or something like that.
I don't know. Like, I mean, but, like, just selfishly, or personally, I should say, we live in a very odd place, and in order to get to, like, the main bit of the street where, like, there's a big mall and the cinemas are, you either have to, like, rent a taxi just to go up a street. You could walk, but it's 33, 35 degrees every fucking day, so that's, awful. And, like, traffic-wise is awful, like, when you finish work and stuff, by the time I finish work. And it's really bad to get to the cinema there. And for the past 2 months, our shuttles, there's like a free shuttle service, has been off, so we've not been going to the cinema as much, purely because it's at the end of a fucking, like, massive, it takes a lot to get there, basically, and it kind of feeds into, like what you're saying, Frank. It's like, you've got places to go, people to see. Do you want to then spend that little time, that little money to be able to get to the cinema on there? It was a lot easier when I used to live next door to a cinema. I'd go every week, but yeah, I think sometimes it's just the difficulty of getting somewhere, and, like, timing-wise, even today, we went to go see Doctor Sleep, and it was like, well, we missed the 2 o'clock screening. You could wait till 4:30, and you're like, oh, what am I going to do 2.5 hours? Do what? Just sit around, wait.
That is the problem, I think, that I found, because I remember seeing it, I think it must have been at the Prince Charles, like, listed on the Prince Charles, and a lot of the time, it's, certain days, it'll be on, like, during the day on a weekday, and then maybe 1 show or 2 shows per week at a time that's actually like a 6 o'clock or like a 7 o'clock showing. And because it's like over 2 hours long, and it's Prince Charles is in central London, if you go to a 7 o'clock showing, you have to think, right, I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to go to that, and then it's going to be, maybe 10 o'clock, and then you're going to get back at maybe 10:30, 11. Whenever it's like, it's not released, it's not like The Joker, that's on every 45 minutes, in a cinema in London. But I feel kind of stupid now, because I would have loved to have seen it in the cinema. But I guess that's just hindsight's 20/20, isn't it? But I think it's definitely, like Adam was saying, if you have to go out of your way there's some people that'll just do it regardless because they just love it and they love the whole, they want to see like a film a day in the cinema. But whenever you're busy and you're working, you think, fuck, if I eat out tonight and I can't make enough food for dinner and lunch tomorrow, then I'll have to buy lunch when I'm at work tomorrow, that sort of thing. Like, it has a bit of a knock-on effect if you're in a routine of just day-to-day life. But it's for films like that get like such a limited release. But then there are films like Doctor Sleep, which has been out for like a week or more, probably 10 days. It was out in Halloween, wasn't it, over here? And I've seen it, and I fucking, where I work now, there's a cinema like right there, and it's a massive cinema, and every time I'm just like, I'll go the next day or something like that. I don't know. I think it's probably to do with the fact that that you also know that you'll be able to see it at another time. Do you know what I mean? Either downloading it, illicitly, or watching it through your neighbor's window, or hopefully it turns up on Netflix. But
I think, I was gonna say, like, with all those like big films, like Joker, or I guess even stuff like Detective Pikachu, which is another like kind of sleeper big film, is that like, take these like Marvel DC films, is that they're so big that 10 weeks into their run, they can afford to still be on at the smallest screen in the cinema because they know they're still going to go, well, it's better that we have that playing. And to be fair, like, big companies like Disney will be booking it out for that 10, 12, 13 weeks. Whereas, all these smaller films that are released, I looked at the list today, and it was like, you had like a Thai comedy film, you had Dr. Sleep was on, you had Addams Family was on, then we had like Little Monsters, which whatever that film was, the horror film with Lupita in it, and like these films are so, and I'm just talking about American films in Thai cinemas, and it's just there's so many films, there's so much content that you're either getting the only ones that are having on for longer are the ones that can afford to be on for longer. These shorter films, these smaller films, the lower budget films aren't getting a massive wide release, and that's because then there's going to be the race, like you say, afterwards for like streaming services, like, oh wait, they're on ours, so we just want to have a little taste, but please come to Amazon for the rest. Yeah,
and I just I looked it up while we were talking there, and it seems that they're actually going to do a full, the Curzon's going to give a full theatrical release to Parasite starting on the 7th of February 2020 in the UK. So I think it's gone through a strange cycle of release.
Well, like, when I think as well, like, if a film comes out in obviously multiple territories and like it's got a staggered release, like obviously with everything else coming into play as well, like, has the effect. But like, if a film comes out in America, say like 4 or 5 months before it comes out in the UK, and before a month or two before it hits cinemas, you can already download a torrent for it. It sort of like takes something, because there's very few. As much as they try to pump out these event movies, there's only a handful a year that you actually say to yourself, right, I need to be there opening day. I need to see this first. I need to, pre-book my tickets. Like that. Well, you make plans with friends to get like a group together and go see it. Like there's a handful of those. Like, like we probably all go to the cinema more than that, but it's more of like, oh, hey, you around? Let's go to the cinema. Yeah, let's go see this film. It just came out like this week, or it came out 2 weeks ago. Let's go see it. It's not like, fuck, we need to go there now because this is a thing not to be missed. But like the streaming services have all sort of dulled us to making the cinema an event, because it's like, well, yeah, why go out? Because I could be in the comfort of my own home. Maybe I've got like an amazing TV and stereo system. Even if not, like that's never bothered me. Like, I'd rather have the sound coming out of my TV speakers on like a 40-inch screen or whatever than go sit next to a bunch of like people in a cinema who are probably going to be like drunk and annoying, and someone's going to open their phone up and things like that. It's just makes it a bit easier to wait nowadays and like have control over your viewing.
I know what we should all do. This is that's so obvious. We should all get our own private cinemas.
That is a good idea.
Each one of us get our own private ones.
Yeah, and like in a living room sort of situation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sort of like a living room. Yeah.
I think it's interesting though, Frank, that you said that about with the tentpole kind of cinema. Do you think as well it's because, take Joker for instance, that's probably the most recent one. For me, I wanted to see it as early as possible because I knew people would be talking about it a lot, and I didn't want to have it spoiled, or I wanted to be able to, as someone who's a fan of film, I wanted to be able to like talk about it as soon as I could, rather than, that if you left that, maybe 2-3 weeks, that it would have been spoiled for you, especially in like stuff with like Twitter and everything nowadays, where whereas say Parasite, I was able to go this long, and the film has won awards, and I've not known anything about it, and yet still was able to get through all that.
Yeah, I think it's like a double-edged sword in a way. Like, yeah, those big tentpole things are the ones that, yeah, because everyone's going to be talking. Like, when some of the films in the summer are coming out, and we're like, oh yeah, we should talk about that on the podcast. So let's like rush out to see it. Like, probably saw some films sooner than I would have if we weren't going to talk about them. And yeah, with the internet and everything, like Reddit, Twitter, all that, like you can't escape. Even if you, like, say on Twitter you mute words, or on Reddit if you try to block things out, like things always slip through.
Yeah.
And that's the other side of it, because like it could be somebody who just doesn't even use any of the like sort of the buzzwords that you're avoiding, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, it's like that scene in the clown movie, and you're like, fuck's sake, like I've avoided this for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So like sometimes when you actually don't see a film and you're like, if you're not too bothered by it, it's out of your consciousness, so you don't really notice things about it anyway. But then something slips through the cracks, and then you instantly want to like punch someone, because you're like, you fucking, I've gone a fair amount of time here without finding anything out about this, and I was finally gonna go see it. I had some time, and you fucked it. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting both ways, I think, like, because yeah, before Netflix and things like that, I liked going to the cinema a lot more, and now when I still like going to the cinema quite a lot, but I don't feel the drive to do it nearly as much as I did. Like I used to try to go, at least every week or two, and now it feels like I make it to the cinema like once a month, if that.
And that's the Porno cinema.
That is the Porno. It's right next door, and I've got a membership. Because if you get membership, you get in for a few pounds less, and they do a quiz every month as well, which is funny. I was, yeah. I mean, it's all like picture based, which is, name whose genitals these are. But
easy.
What does the host look like?
About 8 inches.
Hey, that's a good one. That was quick.
Yeah.
This guy.
Every once in a while,
This guy, he's on.
I get him in.
He's on.
I'm on fire, baby, like the Joker, baby. Welcome to the Quizcast, baby, podcast. What the fuck's saying? I don't know. Let's, all right, so at the end of the day, Parasite, good film.
Yeah. Fucking brilliant
You
film.
two have seen it. Yeah. And I'll eventually watch it. Maybe I'll wait until 2020 when it's got a little cinema run.
I'll send you the link.
Because... Yeah, great.
Of a
thank you.
screener. Sorry, it's a screener.
Screener, yeah, that's right. It's a review copy. We're gonna do a proper full review later, right before it's released. We'll bank off of that. We'll we'll go with that PR. Blair, now you've seen Parasite, but you've also seen another film which is on everybody's puckered lips right now.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct, Frank. Sort of ties in quite nicely with this because it's released in the cinema initially. I'll give you a clue, Adam. Let's see if you can figure out what film this is.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to be released on Netflix.
Yes.
Later in the month.
Uh-huh.
But it was released in cinemas on Friday there.
Yeah.
Begins with the...
Do the voice.
No.
Do the voice.
The Irishman.
Hey!
Huh? Who was that? No, that was someone else. It was The Irishman.
That was like a version of blackface, wasn't it? It was just making you do something that you didn't want to do. That was like...
Yes, I didn't want to do that. But, yeah, I went to see The Irishman on Friday with our friend Kyle Chase. Long film, gonna be honest. Nearly 4 hours long, 3.5 hours long. That is a long film. Do you know how many pints I had through? About 5. Had about 5 pints while I was watching it, which is too many pints to be having, especially if you've had a few pints before. Must have had about 12 pisses, probably. Nah, not that many. About 4, maybe. Too many. But it was.
It sounds like you were out of your seat for a lot.
Oh yeah. I was basically doing the stairs. Do you know what I mean? Like a college fucking athlete with my hood up. I felt like I was doing a Rocky montage during most of it. I had to do my stretches before I did it, so my fucking knees didn't seize up. No, but it was really good. It's it just feels like with this is going to be a non-spoiler. No, actually, you know what? I'm going to spoil it all for you. So what happens is De Niro. So De Niro is an Irish man.
He's actually Scottish. What?
Imagine. So the old what can I say about it without spoiling it? It just feels like all the lads have got back together again. They figured, look, I've got fucking, how much did Netflix give him? Like 2 billion, 100 million, 750, whatever. It was 2 billion.
I think he owns Netflix now.
Yeah, it was like the entire wealth of a medium-sized nation was given to...
That's why Netflix is losing all its Marvel movies.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's good. It's just the lads having a bit of gentlemanly banter with each other. You know, some people get shot, someone gets punched. Robert De Niro's name is Frank Sheeran. Don't like that because it sounds like Ed Sheeran. Maybe they're related. Need to look into that.
Strong first name, though.
Yeah,
Solid,
Frank.
solid.
Yeah, I don't know any good Franks, but you might.
Frank S. I like the ring to it.
Who else is in it? Joe Pesci's good.
He's back, baby.
I don't think he's ever going to do anything again. He is not a mobile man. Robert De Niro. So with the whole de-aging stuff, it looks good, right? I'll be honest, it looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. Like it's not distracting at all. But the only thing is that he moves like he's 76. So whenever he's de-aged, but he has to do something physical, let's say, without giving away any spoilers, you look at it and you're like, he looks like, he's not meant to win that fight. Let's put it that way.
So are you saying that...
Did he ever kick anybody with his big boots?
That would be fucking... No, I had my eye out for the big boots, though. But obviously they did a good job of not putting them in the frame.
I'd love it if they spent all this time and money making these guys look young digitally, and they're like, "Fuck, we forgot to edit out the shit." Yeah. Fuck.
They
just increase the aspect ratio. Get some more black bars down there.
Did they not have like a throwaway line where it's just like, of course, it was the raging 30s. I knew that my osteoporosis that I've definitely had since I was a young man of 21 was flaring up this time of the year. I don't know what accent.
Unfortunately,
where's he meant to be from?
It started off as what I imagined was New York, and then it moved into, I think, a bad Matthew McConaughey impression. And to say that on this podcast, is...
all right. I heard you paint houses. No, but it's fun. It's fun as fuck.
So where did you watch it again, Blair?
That's a secret. I can't tell you.
No,
I'm only joking. It begins with Genesis Cinema. The Genesis Cinema.
Yeah,
I watched
Genesis.
it there.
Our friends at Genesis.
That's the place where Danny Boyle wanks.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to blow up their spot because he's not going to be able to do it in peace now. Everyone's going to be looking for him.
Oh, shit.
But
taking photos of him?
Probably, yeah. He's not famous enough. He needs to be. It needs to be a politician, probably. Someone that you could blackmail.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to blackmail Danny Boyle.
Like a Jeff Goldblum.
It would need to be Jeff Goldblum. Nah, because I don't. Let's not go down that road because he's probably a paedophile.
Well, so I was gonna say earlier this week there's a magazine called Film Stories, and they were writing about the Irishman's UK cinema release and how there's been some restrictions on it. So they partnered with Netflix has partnered with Altitude to get the film into cinemas, and they basically. It's having little tiny, little cinemas are getting it, but not all the big cinemas were boycotting it because of the restrictions that Netflix puts on with its release. It's like they can't be it can't be in cinemas for long, and have it. It's like, oh, it's also on Netflix, but you can go to the cinema. So Netflix are kind of Netflix could make a lot more money if they just had it as a tentpole kind of film. But instead, they're being like, well, no, you will release it, but then only a little taster. And then that's across. I think it's across London. There is something like 14 cinemas were showing it. So that's obviously the Genesis. There's
Prince
Charles, and I think Everyman and Curzon. Everyman and Curzon opted to not boycott it, so they're doing it. But the only other place that's doing it in the UK, as of recording, is Northern Ireland, which is land that was claimed by the English at one point, and
Still is.
It says there's 15 sites primarily around Belfast have the film in the first week.
Are you serious? I didn't even know there's 15 fucking cinemas in Belfast.
There's a chain called is it the Omniplex?
Oh yeah, Omniplex, yeah.
They have a plaque on the wall. The most famous visitor has been Blair Tracy of the Filmageddon podcast.
Yeah, went to see Moana in the Lisburn Omniplex 2016 Christmas, baby.
Oh God.
Oh, also went to see Once
yourself?
Upon a Time in Hollywood. No, that was with my ex-girlfriend, but during the summer I went to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, also in Lisburn Omniplex, baby, with my mother, who I don't think had been to the cinema in about 20 years, and forgot that you don't just talk at the normal. It's not just me and her sitting watching it, and it came out, and Brad Pitt came on screen, and she just turns to me and goes, "That's Brad Pitt. I love him acting." And I went, "Yeah, don't need to say that out loud, Mum. There's going to be a lot of people coming on screen. Don't need to hear your opinion on all of them." So,
I love the idea of this all happening at room volume.
it was, and there was it was during the day, during a weekday. So there's only about 6 people in a big screen. But every single one of them turned around to look at her as if to be like, "Hey, don't talk."
Do you know? I think it was last Christmas when I was back home. And
that's a film, by the way.
Yeah, it was. I had the same problem. I took my mum to the cinema, who hadn't been to the cinema since Les Mis, I took her to that, and before that, I don't know when, probably the Phantom Menace, which I went with her, obviously, but I was a child. Yeah, took her to Avengers, whatever the last Avengers film was, and she had not been, and she always loves watching these Marvel films, and we sat down, and swear to God, someone came on the screen, she went, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Just shut up, man. Just be quiet, right?" I treated her to this little day out. I did not get one piece of popcorn. A kernel did not pass these lips. The woman ate like a bird through this entire box of popcorn, and then went, "I'm not having that," to something that happened. I don't know what it was. Possibly the tax office or whatever. And I was like, please don't talk. Like, this is just silence. And I don't know what it is. Hey, mothers, hey, you have this is probably a line from The Irishman. Mothers, hey, you take them to the cinema, they talk about it, and I say, Ma, what are you doing? I'm watching here.
Hey, he's brought it full circle.
That is fucking
anyway.
Poetry.
The whole thing about this kind of with the independence and being out and stuff. The movie, it's a bit was like, if you don't live in London or Northern Ireland and you want to see the movie in the UK without travelling to either London or Northern Ireland, you have to wait until Thursday the 14th of November. So it's kind of sad though, isn't it, that like if you want to watch this massive film by Martin Scorsese and having all these actors back in it, you have to either go to London or Belfast, and if you don't, fuck you. And if you don't go to any of these like big, if you can only make it to these like big cinema chains, because the little like look at the Prince Charles, I think, had The Irishman on this weekend. All of them sold out, all screenings sold out, so you can't even go if you wanted to go, so you just have to wait anyway. It's kind of crazy as well that they're not opening up to the rest of the UK. I know people in Manchester, about film fans in Manchester, Liverpool, in the entirety of Scotland. There's like 12 people who live in Wales, and I'm sure they might want to watch it as well. It's kind of crazy that you'd have to wait this. You just have to wait by default. You don't even get the choice if you want to go and watch it.
Well, it's just like it's the thing with all these like limited engagements, and because for a while, people were just like, will it actually ever come to people knew that it'd probably get a very limited run so that it'd be eligible for award season and everything. But I think even the fact that it's in as many sort of cinemas as you've said, Adam, comes as a surprise, because I would have thought, Netflix would have cracked down even more, because this is like Netflix crown jewel, right? This is arguably like the most buzz behind this than any of the other Netflix films that have come before. Well, maybe Roma, obviously.
Bright.
Yeah. Well,
Fuck
Bright.
off.
Bright. But like, I think Roma was like a similar situation, because I don't remember being able to see that in sort of the wide cinemas in London. But then
Prince Charles had it.
Yeah, so like your smaller like repertory places, or the fun places, the independents of the world, not the massive places with the $2 Tuesdays where everybody's off their face on the booze at like 4 p.m. But like the cinema fans theaters get them, and I don't know where this is going, but it's interesting because I don't know, like, how long is it actually meant to stay in theaters? It's because it's only going to be like a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, it's going to be the thing I'd seen, which was on TheVerge.com. If you want to kind of have a look at these kind of things, it said about obviously films. I don't know when the fucking comes onto Netflix. So if it is the 14th of November, great. If it's not, the other day I'd seen is November 27th for Netflix for The Irishman. So you're only you're only getting like a few. I guess you're getting like kind of half a month, maybe, like even not more, pretty much a month beforehand. There are other films that Netflix are doing that with, and they're doing a lot this end of this year. So, obviously, September 27th was the theatrical release of The Laundromat, and then it went on to Netflix October 18th. Dolomite Is My Name, the Eddie Murphy film, that was on October 4th, theatrical, and October 25th it got put on Netflix, and you had The King, The Irishman, and the next few is like Earthquake Bird. Heard nothing about it.
What?
That was November 1st as well. It comes on the 15th. Marriage Story, November 6th. Comes on Netflix December 6th. Klaus, which I'd seen the title somewhere. I've heard great reviews. November 8th, November 15th on Netflix. And then it goes down to like The Two Popes, which is that got Jude Law in it?
I think it's a sequel to... Wait, is that a show? No, I thought that...
The One Pope?
Yeah, the singular Pope.
The One Pope. No, the Two Popes... Oh, shit. No, sorry. The Two Popes is the one with fucking Jonathan Pryce and Anthony Hopkins in it, and it's Pope Francis and Pope Benedict.
Wow, sounds thrilling.
Releases on my mum's birthday, and I know what we're watching.
Yes, go to the cinema with her to see it.
To watch The Two Popes. Come on, let's go see it.
Have her talk through all of it.
Yeah, but there'll be nobody else there, so it'll be okay. It's hardly going to be packed out. So it's interesting that they're doing that. I would be interested to see what they do for this next year, because I've not seen anything more than it seems to be The Two Popes as the cutoff. So it'd be an interesting thing to look at anymore. And
Bright 2.
Oh, stop saying Bright. Every week you suggest it, and every week I have to edit it out. No more Bright,
We need a wide cinematic release of Bright 2.
Yes.
Or I'll riot.
30 million for Will Smith to come back. I'm sort of thinking, like, Netflix has their own sort of idea and about what success is, because they're able to basically write the headlines, right? With a film like The Irishman, it can come out for 2 or 3 weeks in the cinemas, and then they can boast, oh, hey, it made this amount of money. That's like an average of like 20,000 per screen or something per day, which is massive because, normally films that's spread out over a greater period of time. And then they're able to tout streaming numbers, which, for all we know, are fabricated or not. But like because they have all this money and because their business model continues to afford them like the availability or the revenue streams and the availability to make more films like this, there's no sort of way that they can fail with this model, because even like a bad film like Bright, they'll be like, well, look, that had
Whoa, bad film?
like in the cool sense, like that's a bad film, man.
That's bad. Okay, yeah. I'll give you a pass.
Yeah.
That's a hard film. Will Smith and an ogre fighting crime.
I'm sure Will Smith probably called someone a bad mother sucker in that, and that that was,
undoubtedly.
Yeah, can't wait for part 2.
No, thank you.
But yeah, they're. They don't have to show people, like, it's not like Avengers Endgame. It's like, oh, it's the highest grossing film in all time, because to them, it's not about grossing cinemas, like grossing tickets in the cinema and like splitting revenues with the cinemas and doing all this sort of stuff. For them, they're just like, no, we just say X millions of people have streamed it, X billions of hours have been watched, like, and everyone else is just like, because
and it's all just like you say, it's just all to have at the end of an investor's report. And I think that's kind of, it's the same for like big Hollywood releases. Disney saying like, look at how much we fucking made, look how much we made with this massive film, and it's like, was it any good? Well, it doesn't matter if it was any good. And the same way as like Netflix can turn around to their investors and say, look at how much money we made, we could have made potentially. If you just give us a bit more, we can potentially make more of this. And if obviously getting Scorsese, the next step to that is, they're going to be Oscar contention, so they can go, oh, you know what, this year, even though we theatrically released it, we're Oscar nominated. It does make me think that people like Apple, who, even though they're like kind of quiet with the kind of Apple TV Plus, whatever it's called now, but having those directors like Spielberg come on board and already be kind of sucking at the corporate titty for it and being like, oh, why would Netflix do this? And it's like, you've got Apple money in your fucking pocket. I can see Apple in the next maybe year 2 going down the same road and being like, we don't, let's just go for movies as well. Of course, people love TV shows and these like 2 hour, 3, or 10 episode kind of TV shows, long form, whatever. But I can see that. I'm hoping that there'll be maybe a little bit of a war with kind of original movies, because I mean that's hopefully where it's going to go, away from franchises into, put all our money behind Scorsese making a Scorsese film, or a Tarantino making a Tarantino film when it's when he's not kind of releasing.
Looking at women's feet. Oh,
but it's because. It is a good thing about there being so many outlets now, because you take The Irishman, like, I think that was, he's been wanting to make that for a while and couldn't really get the funding to do it his way until now with all these different streaming services, there then becomes an outlet to do that sort of thing. So, it goes back to seeing films in sort of cinemas or watching them in your house. The more that people get over this stuff, like, apart from like Christopher Nolan, it seems, who's just like, films need to be 35 millimeter. No, they need to be 70. Let's do 140 millimeter. I don't think he'll be. Actually, saying that he'll fucking sign with whatever thing's next, like Xbox, fucking cinema streaming service, whatever, Inception 2. That'll be coming out.
Fortnite the movie, directed by Christopher Nolan.
Oh my god.
Oh yes, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the guy with the fish bowl head.
Oh, it makes so much sense.
And he does a floss. But yeah, no, it just means there's a lot more availability to make these films from these people, and that includes small films, which for the last sort of 10 years or so, everyone's always been saying like the mid-range film is dead. Like, you can do indie films on micro budgets that can come out to cinemas, or you have to do big blockbusters. That's the only way you make money now. And things that get made for like 20, 30, 40 million, they just don't turn a profit, because like, just generally. Whereas now those sort of films can come back again, and you're starting to see that a bit more. Like, a film like fucking Bird Box, like to come out on Netflix, would that have made money in the cinema? Probably no. Probably would have lost money. But it goes out to Netflix. They make a big deal. Here's Sandra Bullock. It's a horror movie. And then
the memes.
And the memes. The dank memes. People like dank memes.
I mean, that is kind of part and parcel of kind of modern day marketing anyway. They will hire people to do that. I remember seeing there was like a company who handled BBC America's screenings when it's like Doctor Who, and so they're constantly just like making all these like memes and shit and like all the social media posting just for that to get people engaged in it. So and you know yourself though, when you go on like any website, there'll just be a Google Ads kind of thing for Netflix, and you're like saying there'll be like The Irishman or there's fucking Bird Box or whatever. So it's it's interesting to see what the lengths they're doing, and cynically, Netflix aren't putting this film at The Irishman out in cinemas because they love cinema. They're putting it out for marketing reasons, just to get people to, pay into the app and stuff. Which, I mean, people are happy to do it until it gets to a breaking point. And especially with, like, Disney Plus coming in, people might just start now counting the kind of pennies and going, we spoke about it a few months, like a month or two ago, about, like, when we're talking about, like, streaming services. If Netflix are offering, The Irishman this month, and then next month it's like Disney Plus, whatever, doing like the Star Wars 95, like, are you going to then cancel your Netflix that month and then the next month do something else or whatever? I don't know. It's interesting how far are these marketing ploys going to go? And if it's got to the point where releasing a film in a cinema is a marketing ploy, it's kind of sad.
Yeah. It's just Blair, I was wondering, as you've seen the film now,
yes,
where would you rank it amongst Scorsese films? Could you give us a top three? Maybe we should all like do a top three, but would you say The Irishman is up there for you?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Straight away.
It is really good, right? It is very good, but it's only it is good on a standalone thing, but I enjoyed it so much because of the context of his previous work. Like, if this had come out first, then I wouldn't have cared. But because there's been Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, The Departed, all that sort of thing, Casino, where the boys have been all together before, there is a large amount of just the fact that you're seeing that again is part of the enjoyment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so definitely.
If it wasn't cast, like, they could have just cast people, different ages, it didn't have to be De Niro, Pacino, Pesci, but the fact that it was all those ones made me enjoy it a lot more. Well, let's say to an extent, but I would say it is, I don't know if it's even top 10. Maybe it's in the top 10.
He's done 25 feature narrative films which he has directed. Out of those, he wrote 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So yeah, let's see if we can do a top 3.
Of wrote and directed, or just written?
No, just directed. Oh,
okay.
Because he
directed. Yeah,
so he, out of all his films, he wrote Silence, Casino, Age of Innocence, Goodfellas, Mean Streets, whatever that second film that he's made was called, and Who's That Knocking at My Door, which is his first film. And then he's obviously directed loads more beyond that. But yeah, out of all the Scorsese films that have been released up to date, 25 films, can you narrow it down to your top 3?
Yeah.
Go on. Please do.
Do it. Do it. Start from 3. Don't start at 1.
Oh.
Build the tension.
Right. All right, can I get a drum roll? Don't actually drum roll. Number 3, The Departed.
No, solid start.
Number 2, en français, Goodfellas.
Oh, what a twist!
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, I think I know what number 1 is.
Okay, guess what? What do you think my number 1 is?
Taxi Driver.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it is.
Hey, boom. Adam, same question. Go.
Okay, number 3. I've gone completely different here. The Last Temptation of Christ.
Fucking Jesus freak.
I just think that, like, he's done so many films that, like, and it's, it's kind of good that you can kind of go, it's a Scorsese film, and you go, oh, okay, I know what to expect. And those films are, a class. Stuff like Mean Streets and fucking The Departed and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Departed's class, still class. But The Last Temptation of Christ is the most batshit sounding fucking description of a film. And you go, yeah, but who directed it? Some, like, is it Rob Zombie before he did the dog films? And you're like, no, it's Martin Scorsese and Willem Dafoe's Jesus. Like, oh, what? Okay. I think it's class. But it's going to be a long time since I see it again. Second, just for fun, just the fun of it.
Can I guess?
Gangs of New York. I fucking love Gangs of New York.
Well,
it's bad.
The mustaches.
Yeah, I just think it's fun as fuck. And anyway, and plus, I knew you guys would say the other stuff. And number one, Goodfellas. What about you, Frank?
Me? Okay. The answer for all three is Hugo. Hugo. 3, 2, and 1. No. I think 3, I would go with Wolf of Wall Street. 2, I would go with The Aviator. And number 1 is going to be The Goodfellas. Yeah!
Aviator is a really good film, actually.
I love The Aviator. Yeah.
Let's talk about silence. So, what the fuck happened there, huh?
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
It's probably because he co-wrote it with Jay Cox. That's because his last name's Cox, who also co-wrote The Age of Innocence with him. So there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Pervert.
He is a bit.
I never even seen fucking Silence. I just remember, I think I was going through stuff the other day. I was like, I need to watch a Scorsese film. I was going through and I was like, oh, Silence is no, I can't be asked.
I haven't seen a criminally high number of these films, to be fair.
Yeah, I know.
Just say you did.
Just what?
Just say you did. I love
George Harrison living in the material world.
Yeah. I love Rolling Thunder Review.
Of Bob's Dylan story by Martin Scorsese. Full title. What a load of Bullock.
I love one episode.
What a load of Sandra Bullock. Anyway, that's Martin Scorsese. That's The Irishman. We've been Film Again. Goodbye. No, you couldn't wrap it up like that, could you? No. But
basically, would you guys
fuck
Blair,
The Irishman?
recommend?
Yes, Blair, come on over. There's a porn theater next door. I'll take you to.
I heard you're a member.
Yeah. Do you like cum in your ears?
Because
this is the Film Again podcast where we're coming in your ears every week.
Anyway, let's just leave. I can't be asked asking my questions.
Yeah, ask your questions.
No,
Do
sorry.
it. Let's finish this on a serious film podcast note.
Imagine if it was, do you like cum in your ears?
The biggest twist yet.
All right.
No,
Blair,
go.
do you like cum in your ears?
When did Shyamalan get here? Whoa, where's Bruce Willis?
What a twist.
Yeah.
Oh, we've had fun. And there's a film quiz actually that comes that's coming to your face in December 4th.
Don't be gross, Adam.
Don't put the people off. They might be scared now. They might be scared that Frank's a sexual pervert deviant that's going to get up there and expose himself like Louis C.K. We're going to lock the doors.
We should get Louis C.K. to come to one of the quizzes. Like when we had Wanda Sykes.
Don't bring Wanda into this, okay? That woman is an international treasure.
That's true. That is true. Much like Louis C.K. was at one point before all the indiscretion.
Now he should just be buried in the sand.
I've seen him next door quite a bit, actually. I think he's got a membership too.
Like Jeff Goldblum. Let's move on. Let's say goodbye.
It's been an interesting week here on the Film Again podcast. As always, Adam and Blair, thank you very much for joining me to talk about Ear Cum and Martin Scorsese, Netflix, and the like. We do have a film quiz that is coming back to the Prince Charles Cinema. There's not going to be a lot of cum there. I'll say that right now. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. Very severe lack of cum at the quiz, but there will be some great film trivia. Some good prizes and some sexy boys up on stage saying stuff, and I don't know what that last part was, but there's going to be a quiz. We're putting it on. It's December 4th at 9 p.m. at the Prince Charles Cinema. Tickets on sale now. Get them while they still last.
Thanks for having me, Frank.
From all of us here to all of you.
Adam, you say goodbye now.
Adam, say it.
Goodbye to my friends, goodbye to the listeners, goodbye to Pee Wee Herman, goodbye to the German man who's in my house now. Please don't hurt me, I've not got any money.
It's Jürgen.
My pants he's jerking me off. Please make him stop. Sand is in my mouth. Goodbye.
That was sexy.
That was beautiful. Goodbye. See you next time. No, we won't see you. It's a podcast. We'll be in your ears. Coming.